And we're live. Congratulations, everybody. You made it through the week. Another week of amazing food safety, food quality, all of the Thanksgiving leftovers that are being properly stored in the refrigerator. And hopefully, Melody, not still being eaten at this point in time. Get rid of that stuff or freeze it or something. Maintain that food safety. So if you're new, pull up a chair. This is the Food Safety Chat Live. And every Friday at this time, 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Eastern, we get together and we talk about all things food safety, and we live stream on LinkedIn and YouTube. And if you're new to this as well, one of the things that you're going to recognize right away is that this is not a lecture. This is not a webinar. This is meant to be a discussion with you. And that's one of the fun things with this is we have a group of people who get together every Friday and enjoy everything food safety. And they're already starting to come in here. So Ryan's coming in. Michelle's here. She's been doing some awesome posts recently. Good old Des Moines. I spent lots of time in Des Moines when I worked with Eurofins. Their main office for their main lab, Food and Feed, is back there. And I had an office. I spent lots of time in Des Moines. So one of the things we love to do here on the chat is let us know, as everybody's doing here, where you are at in the world. And if you do anything in food safety at all, you recognize the pretty face sitting here with me, and that's Melody Gee. Melody, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. And so we were reminiscing and chit-chatting a little bit here on Monday, getting ready. So gosh, Melody and I have known each other for a long time and have been following her amazing career. And her newest role, which we'll be talking about here, is she is the Chief Technical Officer at an amazing company, Eagle Certification Group. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks. And thanks for having me back. We were just chatting. Gosh, it's been 5 years for Safety Chat. And people are talking about these topics, and coming back feels like coming home. So yeah, thank you so much for having me back.
And so you're in the DC area, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
And how's your weather been? It's been snowy here. We got our first real snow of the year here. It's kind of melting off the roads, but there's still enough there to bug you. How's your weather been?
It's cold. Well, but not as cold as where you are. But this morning we had our first snow, which is very romantic. Very nice. Fluffy snow, like about 1 inch. So it's good.
Nice. Yeah, my wife put some lights outside on a bush. And so then the snow had covered the bush, and then the lights were inside, and it kind of lit up. It looked really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So there's definitely advantages this time. It's nice. Definitely nice living places with 4 seasons for sure.
Yeah, I agree to that.
So look at all these. So Jay, good morning. Tim is here. Oh, good. Tim is here. John and Morgan. Awesome. Well, I kind of feel like when I do this, it's kind of like Mr. Rogers or something. It's like, oh, look at all the children. Hello.
Well, hello, you're like everyone. A host. Like you are like a show host, like Saturday night. You know those show hosts. It's so
true.
Cool. Yeah,
definitely I am. So one of the things that hasn't changed here on the chat, Melody, is we like to have a morning drink of your favorite beverage, everyone. So please join us. Cheers. Oh, cool mug. I like that.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you. It's holiday. You gotta have
what is that mug? It looks like this is my nerd side. It looks like a Dungeons and Dragons type dice. What is the mug? That's kind of unique. It looks Christmassy though.
Yeah, it's very Christmas. It's just Christmassy.
It's just like a candy cane handle. And,
yeah.
Okay.
And it's from Starbucks.
Starbucks. All right. Okay. Good old Starbucks. Oh, cool. I'm always amazed to Melody around the world, all the people who join us. So,
Arishma. Hi.
Oh, wow.
So good to see you. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that is so cool.
You guys. Yeah. Yeah, she was in my
working, okay, yep, with it at StarCast. Awesome. So, that's so cool. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate that.
Well, that's a commitment. It's so, I think, late. It's 7 hours behind.
Wow.
Yeah, so good night, Arishma.
So middle of the night. My goodness. Well, this is a good reminder for people as well, too, with the chat, is a lot of times, it's hard to, block out an hour of time every week. We're all super busy. When you register for the chat now, so there's a registration page that comes up. And of course, we're not going to sell your information or anything like that. The main purpose of that registration page is it will send you a link afterwards to this recording. So you can then watch it at your leisure. So, and once you sign up, you don't need to sign up again. So once it's done, then you're cool. So that's very awesome. The other piece as well too is I'm working with Culture Advisory Group. I'm partner within that organization, and they also sponsor the chat. So that's really cool that Brett and Paul and the team over there join me on that. So it's a good alliance between the U.S. and Canada. Such so much stuff that we manufacture gets made in Canada and brought down here. So that's really cool as well. So with that, so we've been building up to this. Are you ready, Melody?
Yeah, whenever you are.
The dad joke, everybody. So I try to keep these under a theme, which is kind of hard to do sometimes. But I think I got one here that covers it. So Melody, what do you call a snowman who has amazing six-pack abs?
I don't know. Should I give a try? I think
if you'd like.
I have no clue.
Well, of course, that would be an abdominal snowman.
Ha ha.
It wasn't that bad. That's hard to say. Abdominal. Instead of abominable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hard to say. So one of the things we love to do here on the chat, and everybody please indulge me on this, please, is that when I have friends on the chat here, I love to catch up with them and see what they've been up to. So with Eagle and your new role as the Chief Technical Officer, tell us a little bit about that and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I do love Eagle. It's such a wonderful company. It feels like a family now coming back to work for Eagle. So I started my first food safety job at SQFI, where I was the compliance manager and then oversee at that time 27 CBs. Now I'm sure they have more CBs. And then Eagle was one of the CBs at that time. We love Eagle family, the Eagle team, and the way they manage the certification, work on all the auditing standards. So now with this opportunity, and then the timing is perfect that I join as a Chief Technical Officer. I'm thrilled to support this good company with my background, my experience, and hopefully that whole leadership we will bring Eagle to the next level. My main role at Eagle, just like the title, and it's a big role, and my previous predecessor is awesome. And I learned a lot from him as well. His name is Roger. He was the Chief Technical Officer. So his shoe is hard to fill. I will do my best to fill his shoe. So my role is just like the title. Me along my team, we're responsible for the technical side within the auditing. Certification world, stay up to date with all the standards, CPOs. Eagle doesn't just audit for food. Eagle also audit for automobile, aerospace, medical device, EHS, sustainability, all that. So we stay up to date with all the technical requirements. One key role, in my opinion, and which is what I'm going to focus on in the next 2-3 years, is auditors. So all the auditors reporting to my technical managers, ultimately within my team. We calibrate our auditors' performance, align their credentials, qualifications, train them when they provide or assign witness audit, supervised audit, just to make sure they meet Eagle requirements and qualifications when we onboard those auditors. And then also sourcing auditors. Like we have so many discussions. I'm sure the audience here will relate. We have shortage of auditors. So that's another thing is we would like to see how we can pipeline the future generations of the pipelines of auditors to make our world sustain. So I guess, that's my role in a nutshell.
Yeah, and that's really around our topic for today, and we'll get more into that as well, because number one, I completely agree. Eagle is an amazing company and they do a great job. So if you're looking at having audits and certifications, Eagle's a great company to look at. But wow, I mean, so in your role, not only do you have to understand all the technical standards for food, of which you've got regulatory, third-party certifications, all these different requirements. So you also have to understand for all these other industries too.
Well, we do have another chief technical officer of Eagle right now. Yes, I'm interested. I want to learn, so I will learn as much as I can on the aerospace and medical device, all that. It's fun.
Well, and that's a really smart approach, because really we're all trying to do the same thing, is produce
Mhm.
high quality products. Whether it's a car or an airplane or food, we're all doing the same things.
Yeah.
And we need to learn from each other, because there's good things that are being done in those industries that we don't necessarily do in food. So
Mhm.
FEMA, the auto industry follows failure mode effect analysis
Mhm.
processes all the time, which in the food industry, we're familiar with them, but they're really not part of how we do stuff. We're like, oh no, we have our food safety plans and we've got, yeah, we're good. Maybe, right? You can learn a lot from these things. In a lot of ways, those industries are also dealing with catastrophic failure. For us, it's recalls. For an airplane, obviously, the plane falls out of the sky,
Mhm.
and the airline industry gets a lot of bad press if
Mhm.
something bad happens. But where they're much better than us is if a airline incident happens, then they bring out investigation teams. The government has, through the airline transportation, they have these boards that then go out and investigate airline crashes. And we get a report back as the public on what went wrong. In the food industry, that doesn't happen. We have to kind of dig behind the scenes and talk with people to try and figure out why big recalls happen, because the companies that it happens to aren't very forthcoming as to why it happened.
Mhm.
We're seeing a lot of information right now relative to the infant formula, for example. Oh my goodness,
Mhm.
the botulism. And it started off really small. And it's like, oh, this is isolated, which we often hear. This was a conversation I had recently with Dr. Detweiler, right? In an isolated incident. Well, now that isolated incident is everything they make. And we're finding out that there's lots of contaminated cans, and it's worldwide, Melody. I mean, this thing it's awful.
Mhm. Yeah, but unfortunately, things does happen. And learning from the Eagle side, the aerospace automobile side, their auditing are a little bit advanced than us.
Yeah.
What I mean is they started auditing earlier than in food safety world.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to learn from them, as well as you're right. Auditing is auditing. Auditors' credentials are similar, like the behavior, how they audit,
Yeah.
communication. Those skills can be shared and shadowed. So definitely, it's a team partner to
Right.
improve together.
And the approach on this, and so when I was at Eurofins, we're saying the same thing here, is that it's really important, because in auditing on both sides of the equation, and I talk about this on the chat here quite a bit, Melody, is the technical skills are great, and we need to have technical skills to do our roles, but the people skills are just as important. So you can be a really good quality manager, or you can be a really good quality auditor going into facilities, but if you are difficult to work with, if you're unyielding, if you're unwilling to listen to other people's thoughts or opinions, it's hard. You're not going to get very far, and you're not going to be successful.
Yep, absolutely agree. Yep. I saw a note coming from Jay about FEMA.
Yeah.
Actually, in good companies, big, not good, like big corporate, if they are doing both food safety and quality management system, FMEA is also utilized as well. Like we slightly altered a little bit and to apply in the production, and it's a good tool for food companies to use for sure.
Yep. Absolutely. And so Noreen helped me out here. Thank you, doctor. So she recently got her PhD, so congratulations to her. So she helped me out here. The National Transportation Safety Board was the board I was trying to think of that does the investigations. And I agree 100%. We need that in the food industry to get that transparency. For sure. So recently, and part of our topic as we were preparing for today, Melody, was the future of the food industry, and we have to build out a pipeline of that next generation of people. And Darren Detweiler was on a few episodes ago, and he was kind of talking about how he looks at things of, from his perspective. So he went through the tragedy with his son and his death with the E. coli with Jack in the Box, and what food safety was like 30 years ago. And he was comparing it to now. And the important piece of our conversation was the future. What's food safety going to look like in the future 30 years out? Are we going to be doing the same things and complaining about the same stuff? or are we going to make it better? And part of that, just like
That's
your
a $1 million question, Bryan.
Yeah. And we're the people who are going to help decide that. And bringing in that talent, it's not going to be us in 30 years. Well, it's going to be you. It's not going to be me. I'm old man.
I'm not sure.
but talking to that next generation, because in the US, unlike Europe and other places around the world, you don't necessarily go to school to do what we do. I didn't go to school to become a quality executive. I was pre-med and had my biological cellular biology degree, and then got out of school, didn't want to go to medical school. And I was like, okay, what do I do now? And you just kind of fall into this field by accident. In other countries, you actually get degrees in food science and cheese making and other skills, and you come to industry prepared for that. But that's really not the case with us, is it?
Well, sort of, yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. And then I think that's all for all of us, that we want to make sure bring up the awareness and pass down to next generation. Like personally, I've been learning a lot from you, like what you said, you see my growth. And then there's a lot like Skip, Eagle's previous chairman. He definitely saw my growth in this industry. But what I learned from them is the passion, the integrity, the willingness of doing something good for public health, the commitment in food safety. Since I was told I was being helped, I'd like to have this passed along to next generation, the future as well. So I'm trying my best to influence like people around me. And I'm sure like Dr. Darren, all of us are doing the same, and that's how we make things sustain. And I do love talk to students, for example, like they give me new ideas, inspirations, their research. Like every time I go to IAFP, they have like the posters competition from the students. It's amazing how much work they've done in science. How we bridge the gap, how we bring them to food safety and having them come back to the industry. And then I guess we can talk more in today's session. And that I'm also on the side, just for those you don't know me, I'm the founder of Women in Food Safety. And then the initial idea of Women in Food Safety, the community is the same. It's bridge the gap, pipeline the future of female leadership. Because every time I went back to University of Maryland, where I graduated, I got a lot of questions from the students. What do I do with my degree? I was in micro, I was in chemical, I was food science. How can I apply job? What should I write on my resume? What does the industry look for? Like, clearly there is a gap there, and that's really all of us. And if for whomever is listening, we are all responsible for this, to influence our next generation, to tell them what to do. Like just what you were saying, Bryan, you come from a med industry. I have friends coming from animal science. Myself, luckily, because my mom was in the industry before, so I started my bachelor's food science and technology, so engineer, not so much food safety, but then going to master food science and nutrition. It comes already a long way, because initially when I shared with my friends, they were like, oh, what's your major? I said, food science. They were like, oh, are you a cook? Like, oh, do you work in the kitchen? I'm like, no, I am a scientist. I do food science. But now I see this type of question less and less because of what the previous generation did. So we carry the same mission. We will do it and pass along so that we can make this industry sustain.
Right. Well, in what you just said there was some important points. Is number one is actually reaching out and talking with the younger generation and getting their perspective and seeing what they understand. And we were prepping on Monday. You were talking about something you did recently at the University of Maryland. So what was that?
Yeah. So again, I like talking with students. So there was a chance that there is a senior class, R&D class, is looking for a lecture speaker. So I was like, oh, I'm happy to talk about food safety, because food safety and R&D we're twins, partners along the way in the industry. And R&D and food safety are the two primary channels with a food science degree a student can choose. So I said, I'm happy to talk. So I went back to teach a lecture about food safety standard and auditing as a career. It was really fun. It was about 10, 12 students, and you have conversation with them, hearing how like the content was just about food safety standards, regulations, GFSI, and how an auditor and auditing looks like as a job. The question I got was the fun part.
So, well, and so what did they question you on? What did they want to know about?
So like they first of all, they don't know they don't know that much about auditing or food safety standards, all that. They compare the auditing versus the financial auditing. There are some similarity concept, but it's different in practical. So and then another is simply surprised, shocked on how much food science degree can do and how much the industry value the food science degree. They sort of underestimate it. I asked them, I was like, what do you guys want to do? They said, oh, I'm going to go to master and then see if I can go to other majors. Oh, I'm going to go to med school because of yada, yada. So I said, well, there's a lot of options here. Just eye-opening to them. Again, it echoes back. There is a gap between industry and academia.
Definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, when you start talking with the younger generation too, it's like, R&D, you need food science skills to develop cool new products. And you see all these new products coming all the time. So when you see Impossible Foods or other type replacements for, vegan products to help people who want to eat with that lifestyle, those are food scientists developing that.
Yeah.
And, explaining to these things, and then they're like, and I think part of it too is there's a few schools out there, and we know about them because we're in the industry. So like North Dakota, and places like this that
Ohio State,
who have food science programs, but they're kind of few and far between, and they're not heavily advertised either. And so this is kind of a dilemma that we're trying to work through for sure. And I would imagine too, from the perspective of the kids, it's like, well, how do I, okay, cool, Melody, you helped show me some of these potential jobs in food safety or R&D or procurement or operate. Where do I go? How do I find these jobs? What were you able to point them to as a next step?
Yeah, well, that's another good question. And that's true though. That's actually one of the struggle I had when I was looking for jobs, because it's very hard to narrow food safety or food because it's easily connected with kitchen. Again, it's much better now. Like Indeed, like careers in food. And I often tell people like IAFP and IFT are good. Like IFT career, they're good targeted market, like they are looking for food safety or food science professionals.
Yeah. Well, and two, so if one of these students was talking to them, Melody, and say, well, this is really cool that you work at Eagle and you run auditing and things like that. Tell me about that. And how do I become an auditor? What did you share with them on that?
Oh yeah, that's thanks for asking that. If you look at the audit, there's a lot of trainings, all that, but at Eagle, we really want to bring this to another level. Like I said, it is part of the initiatives. We would like to have Eagle auditors and eventually all food auditors to get through standard trainings, to have particular soft skills trained, behaviors, and technical knowledge all around so that they can become a good auditor or a golden auditor, we call them. So at Eagle, we're initiating this Fly Institute of Auditing. Our president, Brad, give it a name, Fly with Eagle. The sky is the limit.
Ooh, I like that. Good job, Brad.
I take no credit because if you guys know me, I'm not very good with naming or like marketing. But anyway, the institute itself we are committed from top to down to bring our auditors to train our auditors and to provide valuable audits to our clients, because audits is key in the industry. It's necessary. And that's why 20 years ago, GFSI started. However, there is pros and cons, right? What we don't want is auditing becomes commodity. Like I have one site before needs to experience 17, 18 audits a year. Does that help? I don't know, because looking at the recall, that's the real check. So what is truly what is truly the value that an audit can provide or bring to the site is what makes us think. So in this institute, like we want to make sure our auditors first have solid knowledge of technical. Like if you're going to a dairy facility to audit, you should have a robust dairy knowledge or meat technical knowledge. And then soft skills, like where you said how to audit. Auditors sometimes underestimate their power when they're on site. I was audited before being an auditee. Their role in the room in front of all the food safety team is huge. They represent authorities. So what they say, what they write is extremely important. But I have to feel guilty on that. Like look at Eagle audit report. We have areas, opportunities to improve. So technical writing is another thing we would like to train our auditors, how to write down nonconformances, how to have a good audit report that can provide value to the customers, like all the retailers. Yeah. So it's starting stage, and eventually we hope this institute can like a cultivate, like mature and grow the future of auditors in the industry.
Right, and that's a good point. I'll reflect that back, because just like food safety and quality, being an auditor is as much a science as it is a skill. And Michelle's talking about this here as well too. Thank you, Michelle. The soft skills. And there's a nice way to tell someone they suck. Right? And you can't go in and tell them, oh my God, your quality systems are terrible and you're lucky I didn't flunk you. And you want the goal of the audit is to make the facility better, not make them feel bad. Yeah. You need to help them and show them, okay, well, you know, here's the findings that I had in these areas. I had a minor for this, and this is why, and being able to explain yourself. And a big piece of that, to your point, the technical writing, that's hard. I mean, put yourself, and this is always a good skill set to have in life, is put yourself in the shoes of that auditor. Right? They're traveling a lot and they're visiting facilities. Yeah. And when they visit facilities, it's not, yay, the auditor's here. It's like, oh, you have to do an audit, right? And that can be a very challenging environment. You have to be a very resilient person to be an auditor and be able to do these skills and travel around and help promote food safety. You have to be, to your point, Melody, you have to be invested. You have to believe in what you're doing and understand that. And then being able to help these opportunities. I know when I was at Eurofins, that was part of the characteristics that my best auditors had. And my best auditors were booked out years in advance because they were able to go into facilities and help those facilities become better using the standard as an auditor. And that's a hard thing to develop. And so it's fantastic that Eagle is working on that. We all need to do a better job at that. And congratulations on that.
I absolutely agree. And then you touch on a very key point word, it's help. Auditor helps a lot to the site. But unfortunately, right now, sometimes it's not the case. Some auditors just there like to show off how great they are and then pointing out stuff. That's not ideal. Like help the site to grow. It's crucial, and that's nearing my heart. We want to grow together because I personally had some not so well experience with auditors, but I also have good experience with auditors as well. So we want to align that. That's another thing. We want to have those good auditors to mentor, to train the younger, the auditors that need help, so that we can all provide value to the site. One thing I also want to give a lot of credit to auditors. You mentioned that, and I will take the opportunity to call for all other certification bodies. Like auditor's schedule is in certification body's hand, right? How we balance their travel schedule, how much audits to be scheduled in 1 week, how we can all the whole CBs work together to raise to have them well paid, have them give them life work balance type of work style. Those is long term in the future, how we can make them together. I don't think this is something Eagle can do it by ourselves, just one CB. But if all the CBs can work together, the power is really huge, can shift the industry together.
Right. And that's a key point, Melody. And I want to emphasize that too, is auditors are people, just like everybody else.
Yes. Yes.
They have families, they have a spouse at home, they have a pet. If they're on the road constantly, because think about it too, doing a 2 or 3 day audit and going to a facility, you have a lot of ground to cover. You have hundreds of questions to get through to figure out if that facility is compliant or not. And then you have to write up your report, and then you have to submit your report, and then you've got the technical review, and then you're on to your next audit.
Yeah.
And you're doing this work. And there has to be points and times where the auditor is able to go, ooh, okay, I need to be home for a week. I need to see my family. I need to pet my dog. I need to take care of the car and take it to get the oil changed and these other things. Because if you're pushed too far, just like us, if I'm doing too much, I get really grumpy, and
Yes.
that's life. And part of that, I'll flip that around as well too, is as a company being audited, understand that perspective too, that those auditors are people in that facility. When they show up, ask them how they are, ask them how they're doing, thank them for coming and taking the time to visit your facility in the middle of Minnesota. That goes a long way. Build that relationship. People relationships are very important.
It's the respect on both parties as well. And I see one comment it went through. He or she mentioned the leadership. Auditor somewhat is also a leader in that in 3 days, in that 3 days during an audit. So they also that's another leadership skill sets we were talking about for auditors. I just want to call it out. That comment is a good comment.
Yes, absolutely. And so helping to build out this pipeline, to your point, not one company can do it. This needs to be done as an industry.
Yeah.
And building out that talent stream is incredibly important. And this is where you start, is doing these type of activities. And recently I was on, as part of Culture Advisory Group, I was part of a panel with a group in Canada and in Ontario called Food Grads. And we had the opportunity to talk about these subjects. And it was extremely well attended. And we got tons of questions, which tells me that, to your point, Melody, I'm seeing the same thing that you saw. It's just like everything in life. If you don't know what you don't know, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, really? So I don't have to just go get a master's and then continue my education to figure it later. I can actually have a rewarding and fulfilling career in a field I never even thought about. Cool. Yeah. And it gets them thinking for sure.
Yep. Yeah. And then thinking about what you were just talking about, they have a busy day. So hopefully in 10 years, 20 years, we can have our technology more helping us, right? So that some of our tedious work right now can be helped by technology.
And that's an important point too, is the technology we use in the food industry is very much in the past. So if you're a college student, you've got this, and we expect them to be proficient in Excel. What? How many students in college even know what Excel is now? No one uses these tools. But if you're going into the world of auditing, you're expected to have a laptop. You're expected to be able to use Excel and go in and enter all the information in the spreadsheet and all these things. And these kids have got to be going, where's the app? Why don't I have an app? Right?
Yeah. And then that's another thing when I was teaching, some of the student was asking, how does it look like working in food now? Like that make us thinking, like all of the audience out there, like what kind of working environment we would like to provide to our younger students, like did we meet their expectation, for
Yeah.
example? That's also important, how we can continue to attract good talent to our industry. Because now I'm thinking through just talking with you, Brian. Um, we might be able to go back one step further eventually in 30 years, like going to high school to tell them,
Mhm.
hey, choose food science. Because high school student, they obviously they know IT, obviously they know finance. Why can't they know food safety? That's such a good good role for protecting public health. Maybe long term, that's something could happen in future.
Yeah. And our challenges with food safety and just really go beyond even what we're talking about here today. Look at all the trouble we are having as an industry just trying to put 204 enhanced traceability into place. No one can figure it out. And even FDA is like, oh, okay, fine. We'll push it off a little bit. But it's still coming. And it's because everything is on paper. Tracking is very, very slow. Everything is designed, and this is really something that I work on in what I do, is everything that we're doing is reactionary. It's, we had a recall. Okay, now let's go back and trace the product and we'll figure all these things out. Other industries have figured out how to be more predictive, and I think that's where they're very successful. Is back to our NTSB example. They figure out ways to prevent future accidents from happening. We don't do that. We just say, oh, we had an accident, and then we repeat the same cycle over and over again. And we see this all the time on LinkedIn, Melody, is oh, another recall. Why does this keep happening? Yeah, and everybody kind of throws up their arms, and then they'll say something like food safety culture, right? And then everybody kind of runs away. Very, very reactive,
Well,
very reactive in what we do.
that is true, but I also let me put my food safety director, manufacturer hat on for just a second, because I really would like to give credit to those food safety professionals and heroes out there. I agree with what you said. We have a long way to go, but I also want to point it out. We have come a long way.
True.
We've done a lot to improve. Yes, there is still people using outdated like on paper, but I've worked with companies that we do utilize software, advanced technology,
Mhm.
to advance food safety. Food safety is a little bit unique. The data, it's not something you can it's not something you can normalize easily as other
Mhm.
data, because we're talking about human, we're talking about the food, like the daily consumption. And another thing I would like to a li- uh, elaborate a little bit is the recall. With the technology, with the system that we put in, there are a lot of volunteer recall that food safety professionals put it out there to prevent an outbreak. So a lot of
Right.
the recall wasn't because, oh, people died or people got sick. Well, there are still, but not always. It's because food safety professionals would like to call precautionary, hey consumer, we might think there's something, we would like to do a volunteer recall of our products. So it's sort of like a precautionary step for the public health as well. So there are two folds here. I just want to give shout out to the food safety heroes out there, because we do a lot behind the scene to make sure every day that the product produced is safe to our consumers.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And that's one of the things that I would always train my quality managers, and this applies to other departments and companies as well, is if we do a good job at our doing our work, nobody notices. Because to your point, Melody,
Exactly. It's
the
like I
recall doesn't happen, the
yes.
complaints don't happen. And then senior management looks at it and says, oh, all right, everything's fine.
Cutting budget.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need these people. They're not doing anything. And so that's the big challenge. And so this kind of comes back to the people side. You need to be visible in these
Yes.
actions and how they're doing that.
Yeah.
Noreen had
There's
a
a
good question here for you.
there's a
Oh, go ahead.
question
Go ahead.
for me from Jay, and I just want to quickly answer that. Yes, we do have a apprenticeship program that we had a success. Actually, she's not food auditor, but she becomes an ISO auditor. And internally, we do mentorship as well. So we have good auditors mentoring the younger audit or fresh, not young, green auditors to help them to grow through different ways. And feel free to send me an email or LinkedIn message. I can elaborate a little bit more in details. And I think there's another question.
Yeah. So yeah. Noreen had a comment here too. Great comments, guys. Keep them coming.
How can we leverage AI in food safety auditing? That's another $1 million question. Right. I mean, AI is all already in our daily life, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways I think we can utilize AI. It depends on the purpose. It depends on which stage you are at, the preparation of the audit, or during the audit, or after the audit. But one thing I would like to call out is when using AI, we got to be cautious on those cybersecurity, those information, the data security information to keep the information confidential. Besides, I think AI is a big word. Maybe I will think about a little bit in detail, like technology, like AI for, okay, how do I, well, there's so many going on. Predictive is one thing you just mentioned, Brian, right? Machine learning we can use for auditing, and a preparation we can use AI to look for the risks of the site, the products the site produced, as another example. Post audit reports writing, we can leverage the technology. And during the audit, like smart glasses, Google has Google glasses. There's a lot of companies that have like smart glasses, and those can help us to look more in detail in the auditing world as well. Again, this is not something just auditor can achieve. It takes auditors and the clients, because they need to allow the whole technology to work.
I got some thoughts on this too. So a good way to look at this as well is we're very good at what we do in collecting tons and tons and tons of data. We have lots of data, but we have no information. So if you can use AI, number one, you need to have the experience. AI can help you make things easier. It cannot do what you do. We talked about this on the chat before. You cannot use AI to create a food safety plan. If you think you can, you're in big trouble.
No, another piece
can't. Of it, yeah, it's like, oh, I'm done. No, you can't, right? And this is how we can help the newer generation understand that, because they're much more savvy at this than we are. But use AI for large piles of data. So let's say, for example, that you have a hand washing station in your plant, and there's video surveillance in that area of people washing their hands and things like this. Can you use AI to analyze hand washing data? How long does it take for people to wash their hands? Does that amount of time vary by shift? Does it matter by time of season? What is the average time that men versus women have washing their hands at the hand wash stations? How does that correlate to the usage of chemicals? How hot is the water? All of that type of data that if we had to slog through it as people would take forever, right? We wouldn't be able to do anything with it. You could potentially load that information to AI and get some very valuable information from that. Who knows, right? Just kind of an idea off the top of my head for potential AI. But back to our theme for today as well, Melody, is these are the type of things that the younger generation are going to get excited and interested by. And they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can build these things for you. Cool. Let's work on some programs for that and how we can use those. But as Brett says here, right, if we had bad information going in and we don't have a way of properly interpreting it, with the experience we have, it's not going to provide that much benefit. Garbage in, garbage out. Cortland had a comment here as well. So Cortland owns a lab, and he has very extensive experience in pharma and medical device. So Cortland, third-party audit program more consistent. IFPTI. I don't know what IFPTI is, Cortland.
It's the institute. I don't know the full word, but they like preventive control. Like it's a, I don't want to say it out loud. Wrong.
Stick it in there, Cortland. That would be helpful.
I know what it is, but
okay.
But yeah.
Well, you're as usual, Mel. You're smarter than me, so.
No, I can't even explain it. So nowhere better.
And so, really, I think part of this is we have to move, and really AI and things like this, as you were talking about, is we need to move more to the predictive realm of things. And what I always taught my quality managers, Melody, is if you're creating quality reports for your facility that just report on what happened over the last month or the last quarter, that's really not very beneficial. Everybody already knows that we had the big quality hold 3 weeks ago. Everybody knows about the main complaint rates. The more important thing is, what are you doing about them? It's okay, we see that complaint rates are going up for packaging defects on this particular line. I, as the quality manager in the plant, am going to institute a project to begin analyzing the data and doing some work to figure out how we can bring that down. Then the plant manager is going, okay, good, thank you, that's awesome. It's not, oh yeah, complaint rate is at 5.5 and it was 5.9 last month. Okay, who cares? What does that matter? That doesn't. What are you doing with that data? And I think that's where AI can really help us too.
Yeah, that's a good point. AI ultimately it's a tool. Like it still rely on human brain. Like our experience, our interpretation, that's the value to the organization or to the industry. So how we can take advantage of AI processing all those information and translate it into practice, that's the key. That would
Yep.
help us to continuously improve our food safety management system.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, FDA is already using AI for food safety. FDA has a program in place that they've been
Yeah.
piloting in medical device, and they're now moving it over to food to predict potential industries and even down to probably plant level of where they should be focusing their activities. So FDA is using these tools to allocate their resources and their investigators.
Yeah. Also, for the importing, they're scanning the containers, all that. They utilize AIs as well.
Exactly. But then again, of course, we always get surprised. It's like radioactive shrimp. What? Radioactive shrimp? What the heck? Which has been kind of quiet. So now that they know there's a problem, but the last I heard, Melody, I don't know if you heard anything about this either, is that it was tracked to the actual shipping containers that they were using. So there might have been something in those containers previously that was then contaminating the shrimp.
Oh my. Oh, I should
Yeah.
read that. No, I didn't catch myself up to that story. I'll read
If
that.
our friend in Samoa is still awake, maybe they have some insights too. So technology and attracting new talent, so super important. So part of this is seeing as well. So, and you had mentioned mentorship and programs like this as well. Did you have any additional thoughts around mentorship and showing? Because talking about it's fine, but actually showing these potential new food safety people what we actually do and how this can be a career is important. Any thoughts around that?
Well, mentors definitely is one. And then coaching, that's another thing I learned recently. Coaching is getting really more recognized to coach. Um, I feel like students are like a white paper. So
Mm-hmm.
how you draw it, how you give them the impression of the industry, it really relies on you. So you become their role model. So lead by act, the way you work, how you react, it will make a lot of impact to the younger generations or your team if you're leading a team. So lead by yourself, like role
Yeah.
model. You are the role model to them. And
Yeah.
that's the best opportunity you can pass good practices or food safety commitment to, or even food safety culture, those
Mhm.
methods to the next generation. I think through coaching or mentor, probably.
Right. And I think key of this, and I think this is probably something you learned from the University of Maryland as well, is it's just opening the door and showing them that
Yeah.
there's this entire world of opportunities out there. Cliff down at NC State is doing a lot of work around this
Yeah.
too. I forgot to
Yeah.
mention him earlier. But when I was that age, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So part of that
Me
is
neither.
yeah, it's just showing the options of,
Yeah.
oh, hey, by the way, there's this entire world of auditing and manufacturing and R&D and food safety and microbiology and chemistry and marketing and sales and all of these things that are involved because we all need food and we want our food to be awesome. And you can be part of that. And I think part of that pathway for the next generation is showing them the different options and then letting them figure out what speaks to them.
Yeah, the
And
awareness. That's right.
yeah,
The awareness to them. Yeah.
and auditing and what you do at Eagle is a great way to do that because you guys get to see all kinds of stuff. And
Mhm.
there's all kinds of different pathways, all kinds of different food manufacturing, all kinds of different industries. We just assume that everybody knows this, but they don't. Um, a lot of people, and this is really sad, they think that the food just automatically appears at the supermarket and that somehow
That's right. That is really sad. That's beyond our role, Brian. But I nowadays took opportunity to share with my friends. Hey, do you know how these chips get to the supermarket? Like a little bit chit chat also helps just to
yeah.
bring awareness how important this industry it is.
Mhm. And yeah, all of the different people along the way, all the different handoffs that have to happen to get that bag of chips to the grocery store.
Exactly. Yeah.
Craziness. I think a big part of this is, and we talked about this earlier, and I rail against this, is we need to figure out how to upgrade our technology in the industry. And enhanced traceability, 204, all of this stuff that we talk about is just a symptom of this bigger problem that we have because our technology is so old and so outdated, and we want to keep doing things the same way, doesn't work anymore. And it is even harder now because we're so behind the curve. Um, and that becomes a detriment to talking with the younger generation of, hey, come join our industry and learn how to use PowerPoint. What?
That's true.
Why?
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, as the industry, we need to evolve as well so we can catch up with other industry together. There's a lot of good comments coming in, and I start reading it and then laughed out with the Cortland's one. But there's one saying most food science major I knew, including myself, started as nutrition dietitian. That's
Mhm.
correct. And then somehow they do a better branding and marketing. I think I personally started as R&D as well, so I worked as an R&D before and then switched to food safety, where because I realized food safety is more the foundation of the entire product development. So
Mhm.
again, it takes everybody, all of us, um, to advocate what does food safety industry a job or work look like. It doesn't mean you sitting on the bench to do experiment all day. It doesn't mean you look at lab report. It doesn't mean you're doing the plating all the time. There's so much around it. So it takes all of us to advocate that. I was one of the
Yeah.
examples. I switched from R&D to food safety.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of that too, and this is something we talk about here on the chat quite a bit as well, is getting out of our technical bubble and really understanding that we're part of the company and that in order to create great products and have happy customers who pay us money and have work for a successful company, we're part of that. And sometimes we view ourselves, I think this is in some ways self-imposed. We view ourselves as separate from that, which is very detrimental. And I think this kind of relays into our messaging and our topic for today, Melody, is that if we do a better job of explaining how our industry works and how what we do fits into that, then we're just like every other industry. And kids will understand. If you're a business major in college, you understand and you know that your business degree is going to work in a variety of different industries. But I don't think they consider the food industry.
Well, but I do see silver lining though, like what you mentioned, clean from the NC State University. The more university we partner together, the more we can expose how the industry look like and give them give the students a better idea of the future, how it looks like. There is a career path in food safety.
Yeah. And have opportunities and for companies like Eagle certifications and things like this to have mentorship programs and say, okay, kids, um, we're going to show you what this is like. We want you to go along with one of our auditors and see what auditing is like and give them that perspective and going out and seeing new plants and meeting new people and understanding new industries and growing that perspective. And then they can go away and say, oh my God, that was super cool. I would love doing that. Because a lot of it is, there's talking about things and then there's doing things, and doing in a lot of ways is much more educational. We know that. Reading in a book versus actually doing it in a plant are two different things. And the more that we can show them what life is like in food, the better they're going to understand it. And we're going to break down those. Oh, you're a chef. No, what? No, I'm not a chef. Yeah.
But that time is gone. I think you are right. You are absolutely touched the point. Showing is more important. It's critical. Doing and showing. Yep. And then we are desperately looking for good food safety professionals who are interested in auditors, in being a BRC or SQF auditor. So if you are interested, contact me afterwards as well. Yeah.
And so part of this, and this gets back to our theme today, is in order for our industry to evolve and grow and become better, which we talk about all the time, is we need bright, smart people from the next generation who choose to work in this industry, who then think about these problems and come at it from new angles that we don't even think of. And they're like, hey, we should really do this. And we're like,
we need those. Exactly. Yeah. We need those fresh ideas. Yes.
Yeah, we need those innovators. We need those outside the box thinkers. People like Elon Musk or whoever saying, "Hey, we're going to Mars," and everybody's like, "What? What are you talking about? That's crazy." And no, and by the way, robots are going to be in the house. We have millions and millions of robots. What are you talking about? We need people like that in the food industry who are thinking these crazy things that are 30 years out and going, "Here's what's going to be going on in the industry," and people are going, "What? What are you talking about?" And then they're like, "Yep, and I'm going to do it." That's the people that we need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So we're at the 5-minute mark here at Melody. So let's kind of bring this up. We've covered a ton of territory here today. What are some of your closing thoughts you'd like to leave with people today?
Food safety industry is a very fun and challenging industry. So if you love problem solving, you are excited about little sparkles, challenges, achievements during your daily work, then that's probably your industry. And I will use Alex's comment is safety industry is a very stable industry. You will never be replaced by AI. Well, I shouldn't say never, because who knows, in 50 years, maybe there's,
Robot.
but it would be difficult for you to be replaced by AI.
But I think Alexis's point there is valid too, is this is a good place to work. Everybody needs to eat. There's going to be jobs. You don't have to worry about it. You'll be fine. It's an important thing nowadays, for sure. So I did want to leave it here as we're closing out our chat. So here's the main page. I'll put this in the comments.
Sprinkles. Oh, I love it. Yes. So I call those little challenge myself sparkles. It sparkle my day, because my day every day won't be the same when I was at the plant. So anything happen, I call it sparkle. Now I will use sprinkle because it kind of like make it sweet. Yeah.
I like it. Yep. So I put your website in here as well
so
for people.
Brian. Yes.
To reach out. And here is the contact information for Culture Advisory Group as well. And
you guys just can find me on LinkedIn and I'm happy to chat afterwards for anything.
Oh, and early this week I was talking with Tracy Fink. And she said to make sure and remind everybody now that Women in Food Safety is also now a 501c3, right?
Yes. Oh, thank you, Tracy. All of our friends. And that's another beauty of food safety industry. We have good people. Like, I think we have the best people in food safety. We all mean well. We help each other. We support each other to go through good and bad days, because food safety job is not easy. We all have good and bad days, but we have a whole community behind your back to support you.
Yep. So Women in Food Safety, doing good stuff out there. Keep it up.
Thanks.
So fantastic chat. Thank you, Melody. I always love having you on. It's a great opportunity to get caught up and all the wonderful things that you're doing. So thank you, Melody, for all you do for food safety. Greatly appreciated. And everybody, thank you for joining us and investing your time in this conversation and helping really what our mission and what our topic was here for today. Just by participating in this conversation today, you've helped elevate food safety in our industry. So thank you for doing that as well. And we, of course, will be back here next Friday as well at the same time on LinkedIn and YouTube, where we live stream at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Eastern. And we will bring another amazing guest like Melody onto the chat to have a conversation with you. So in the meantime, enjoy your weekend. Christmas is coming. Everybody's getting crazy, getting all that stuff going on, getting ready for the family. Take a breather, relax a little bit, and we'll do it all again next week. So we will see you here then. Thanks, Melody. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Happy holiday. Bye.